the heart of a sprawling national park where the dense canopy stretched towards the heavens and the ground was a labyrinth of roots and underbrush. A group of friends embarked on what was supposed to be the adventure of a lifetime. Ethan, Maya, and Alex, drawn together by their love for the outdoors and the thrill of exploration, had meticulously planned this expedition for months. The park, renowned for its breathtaking vistas and untamed wilderness, also whispered secrets of the unexplained and the supernatural, a fact that added an irresistible allure to their journey. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the trio became enveloped in the park's primal beauty. The days were spent marveling at the towering trees, and the nights under a tapestry of stars, around a crackling fire, sharing stories and laughter. However, as they delved further into the park's heart, a palpable change in the atmosphere began to unsettle them. The once vibrant chatter of wildlife fell into an eerie silence, and the trees seemed to close in, casting deep shadows that played tricks on the eyes. It was on the fourth night, at a secluded campsite nestled by a serene lake, that the inexplicable occurrences began. Maya awoke to the sound of whispering outside their tent, a soft, insistent murmur that seemed to be calling her name. Gripped by an inexplicable urge, she ventured out, only to find the campsite bathed in an otherworldly glow with no source in sight. The whispering ceased abruptly, and though she scoured the surroundings, nothing amiss was found. Shaken, she decided to keep the incident to herself, dismissing it as a trick of the mind, induced by the wilderness. The following day, as they hiked towards a location known as Devil's Crest, a place rumored to be cursed and avoided by the local guides, the air grew thick, almost suffocating. Ethan, usually the most rational of the trio, swore he saw shadows flitting between the trees, shapes that were too deliberate to be mere figments of imagination. Yet, every time they stopped to look, there was nothing but the still, oppressive forest around them. As the sun dipped below the horizon on their fifth night, Alex disappeared. He had gone to fetch water from the lake and simply never returned. Frantic, Ethan and Maya searched the surrounding area, calling his name into the indifferent expanse of the park. Their search led them to a clearing they had not encountered before, where the ground was marked with symbols that seemed ancient, filled with an intention they could not comprehend. In the center of the clearing, Alex's water bottle lay discarded, its contents spilled into the earth. The disappearance of Alex fractured the remaining semblance of normalcy. Ethan and Maya, now tethered to the spot by an inexplicable force, found themselves unable to leave. Nights were filled with vivid nightmares of a shadowy figure that watched from the tree line, its intentions unknowable. Days were spent in a haze, searching for Alex, all the while feeling the gaze of unseen watchers upon them. On the seventh night, with their hope dwindling and their sanity fraying at the edges, they discovered a cave hidden behind a cascade of ivy. Drawn by a compulsion they could neither explain nor resist, they entered. The walls were lined with primitive drawings that told tales of a time long past, of rituals and offerings to something that dwelled within the park, something ancient and malevolent. The story of Ethan and Maya ends here, in the shadows of the cave, As the outside world began to forget they ever entered the park, their fate, like Alex's, remains a mystery. Their story, an unfinished symphony of terror, whispers in the wilderness that beckon others to explore the secrets of the national park. The true horror of their journey lies not in what has been told, but in what remains untold, inviting the curious and the brave to uncover what lies beyond the veil of the known. What happened in the depths of that cave, or to the friends who ventured too far, remains a story for another time, a chapter yet to be written in the true national park horror stories. In the heart of darkness, within the cave's suffocating embrace, Ethan and Maya found themselves facing the ancient murals with a mix of fascination and horror. The primitive art depicted scenes of a ritual, performed by figures that appeared half human, half beast, worshipping an entity that was shrouded in shadows, its form indistinct yet terrifying. The entity seemed to pulsate with a malevolent energy, even as a drawing, suggesting its power was beyond comprehension and time. As they delved deeper into the cave, guided by an unseen force, they stumbled upon an underground chamber that pulsed with a faint, eerie light. The source was a crystal formation in the center, casting an otherworldly glow that illuminated more murals. These, far more intricate and menacing than the ones at the entrance. The air was thick with an ancient power, and the silence was oppressive, as if the very stones were holding their breath. Whispers began to fill the chamber, soft and seductive, weaving around Ethan and Maya, promising answers and tempting them further into the cave's depths. Despite their fear, a desire for understanding, for finding Alex, propelled them forward. They followed the whispers to another, even larger chamber, where the true horror of the park began to unfold. In this vast space, the ground was littered with objects that belonged to the missing personal items that had no place in such a forgotten tomb. Cameras, backpacks, and journals were scattered amidst older, more decayed belongings, some of which looked centuries old. In the center of this macabre collection stood an altar, atop which lay a book bound in material they dared not guess at. It was open, pages fluttering as if caught in a breeze that did not exist. The text, written in an indecipherable script that seemed to twist and writhe under their gaze. Compelled by a force beyond their understanding, Maya reached out to touch the book. But before her fingers could brush its surface, a deep, resonant voice filled the chamber, speaking in a language they did not know, but could feel in their very souls. The voice was filled with anger and hunger, a demand for something that had been long awaited. Suddenly, the cave trembled, loose stones falling from the ceiling as a shadow began to coalesce in front of the altar. The entity from the murals, now taking a form that was both in the shadows and of the shadows, loomed over them, its presence overwhelming. Maya and Ethan could do nothing but stare, transfixed, as the entity spoke again, this time its voice echoing inside their minds. "You have come," it said, its voice a chorus of whispers. "But not all is ready. One is missing. Bring the last, and the path shall be revealed." before they could respond, the entity vanished, leaving them in sudden silence, the oppressive atmosphere of the cave lifting momentarily. They were alone again, but the command was clear. Alex was the key to whatever lay beyond this point, but how to find him in the vast wilderness of the park, and what path was the entity referring to? As they made their way out of the cave, the forest seemed to watch them, an ominous sense that they were being guided by unseen forces. The park had revealed a fraction of its true nature, a glimpse into the abyss that promised madness and revelations in equal measure. Ethan and Maya, now burdened with the knowledge of the entity and the task it had set before them, understood that their journey was far from over. The search for Alex took on a new, desperate edge, not just to save their friend, but to appease the ancient darkness that had claimed the national park as its own. Their story, a thread in the tapestry of true national park horror stories, continues to unravel, leading them into the unknown, with each step taking them deeper into the heart of darkness that beats beneath the serene beauty of the wilderness. What lies ahead is a mystery, the path shrouded in shadow and fear, their fate yet to be determined in the echoing silence of the forest. As Maya ventured deeper into the heart of the national park, guided by an unseen force and the spirit of Ethan, the landscape around her began to change. The trees seemed to lean in closer, their branches whispering secrets of the past, of those who had walked these paths before and never returned. The moon cast a silver glow over everything, giving the world a surreal, ethereal beauty that belied the dangers lurking within the shadows. Her journey led her to a part of the park shrouded in myths, a place where the veil between worlds was said to be thinnest. Here, the air was thick with a sense of anticipation, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. Maya felt a pull towards a particular clearing, where the moonlight seemed to converge, illuminating an ancient stone structure that was neither marked on any map nor spoken of in local lore. The structure, covered in moss and vines, appeared to be a portal or gateway, its origin lost to time. Carvings adorned its surface, depicting scenes of rituals and ceremonies that were both unsettling and fascinating. Maya, driven by a mixture of fear and determination, approached the gateway, feeling the presence of Ethan more strongly than ever. His spirit seemed to be urging her forward, whispering that the key to finding Alex and understanding the true nature of the park lay beyond this ancient threshold. As she reached out to touch the stone, the air around her shimmered, and the ground beneath her feet began to vibrate. A sound, deep and resonant, emerged from the structure, a call that seemed to resonate with her very soul. The forest fell silent, and the night held its breath. Then, from the shadows, figures began to emerge, shapes that were human, and yet not, their forms flickering like flames. They encircled the gateway, their eyes glowing with an inner light, and began to chant in a language that Maya could not understand, but felt deep within her bones. The gateway pulsed with light, the carvings glowing with an ethereal fire, and Maya knew that she was standing on the precipice of something ancient and powerful. The figure's chant grew louder, and and the air grew colder, as if the gateway was drawing the very life from the surroundings to fuel its awakening. Just as Maya was about to step forward, a hand on her shoulder stopped her. She turned to see a figure shrouded in shadows, its features obscured, yet somehow familiar. The figure's grip was firm but gentle, a silent warning that the path ahead was fraught with peril. A journey that once begun could not be undone. The story pauses at this moment of choice, with Maya standing at the threshold of the unknown, guided by forces both seen and unseen. The nature of the gateway, the shadowy figures, and the mysterious figure that halted her advance remain enigmas, threads of a larger tapestry that weaves together the fate of Ethan, Maya, and Alex, what lies beyond the gateway, and the decisions that Maya will make hang in the air like a mist, a story waiting to be continued, inviting the reader to ponder the mysteries of the national park and the darkness that dwells within its heart. In the pregnant pause that hung between Maya and the shadowy figure, time itself seemed to dilate, stretching the moment into an eternity. The figure, emanating a sense of profound sorrow and wisdom, slowly revealed itself to be Alex, or at least a version of him that had been forever altered by the park. His eyes, once vibrant with life, now shimmered with a depth that spoke of unspeakable knowledge and the weight of experiences that no human was meant to bear. Alex's transformation was a testament to the park's ancient power, a warning of the irreversible change that awaited those who delved too deeply into its secrets. He spoke, his voice a harmonic convergence of the natural and the supernatural, telling Maya that the gateway was not just a passage, but a test, a doorway to truths that could either enlighten or consume. The chanting figures, guardians of the gateway, ceased their incantations as Alex revealed the park's core essence, a living, breathing entity, ancient beyond measure, that safeguarded the balance between worlds. This entity, awakened by their intrusion, now sought to realign the disturbed equilibrium through them. Maya, faced with the reality of Alex's fate and the enormity of the park's secrets, found herself at a crossroads. To turn back meant abandoning the quest for understanding and leaving Ethan's sacrifice in vain. To step through the gateway promised answers and possibly a way to save Alex, but at the cost of facing unimaginable truths that could shatter her perception of reality. With the weight of her decision bearing down on her, Maya reached for Alex's hand, seeking the comfort of human connection in the face of the unknown. However, as their fingers touched, Alex's form dissipated like mist, a stark reminder of the consequences of traversing the boundaries of the known world. The guardians of the gateway, recognizing Maya's resolve, resumed their chant, the sound weaving around her, lifting her spirits and stealing her resolve. The gateway pulsed once more, a beacon in the night, calling her to step forward and embrace the unknown. As Maya took that fateful step towards the gateway, the forest around her fell into a hushed anticipation, the very essence of the park converging on this singular moment. The boundary between worlds thinned, the the air crackling with energy as the gateway opened, revealing glimpses of realms beyond comprehension, landscapes that defied the laws of physics, and beings of light and shadow. The story halts as Maya crosses the threshold, her figure enveloped by the light of the gateway. What lies beyond is a realm of endless possibilities, a journey through the heart of the unknown that promises to reveal the mysteries of the park, the fate of her friends, and the true nature of the entity that binds them all. This narrative pause leaves the door ajar to a world where the lines between horror, wonder, and enlightenment blur, inviting those who dare to explore further to continue the tale of Maya, Ethan, and Alex, and to uncover the deeper mysteries of the national park that holds within it. Stories of the truest form of horror and beauty intertwined. As Maya stepped through the gateway, the world around her dissolved into a vortex of light and shadow, transporting her beyond the realm of her understanding. She found herself traversing dimensions that defied human comprehension, each step revealing truths so profound they reshaped her very essence. Through this journey, Maya was not alone. The spirits of Ethan and the transformed essence of Alex guided her, their presence a comforting reminder of the bonds that connected them. In this realm between realms, Maya confronted the entity that governed the national park, a being as ancient as time itself, whose purpose was to guard the delicate balance between the natural and supernatural worlds. The entity, vast and incomprehensible, communicated not through words, but through emotions and visions, imparting knowledge that filled Maya with awe and terror. She learned of the park's role as a nexus, a point where the veils between worlds grew thin, and of the sacrifices made to maintain the balance. Ethan's choice to become a guardian of the balance and Alex's transformation were part of a larger cycle, one that had repeated itself across ages. Armed with this knowledge, Maya was offered a choice: to return to her world, carrying the burden of this truth, or to remain in this realm, becoming a part of the balance herself. The decision weighed heavily on her, a choice between her life and a greater good. Guided by the love for her friends and a newfound understanding of the universe's vast mysteries, Maya chose to return. The entity, acknowledging her decision, granted her the power to act as its emissary, to protect the balance from those who would unknowingly disrupt it. As she stepped back through the gateway, the park welcomed her with a serene calm. Dawn was breaking, casting the first light on a world that seemed unchanged, yet felt entirely different to Maya. She found herself at the edge of the park, the early morning mist dissipating to reveal the familiar landscape of the world she had left behind. Maya emerged from the park a changed person, bearing the knowledge and responsibility of her encounter. She dedicated herself to protecting the park, ensuring that its secrets and the balance between worlds remained undisturbed. Ethan's spirit, forever intertwined with the park, guided her in this mission, a silent guardian watching over the nexus. Years passed, and Maya's story became a legend, a tale whispered among those who sensed the deeper mysteries of the world. The national park remained a place of breathtaking beauty, and profound mystery. A reminder of the thin lines that separate our world from others. And so, the story of Maya, Ethan, and Alex concludes not with an end, but with a new beginning. Their journey through the heart of darkness and light revealed the fragile balance that holds the universe together. A balance maintained by the unsung heroes who stand guard at the crossroads of reality. In the end, the true horror was not the darkness that lurked in the shadows, but the realization of how close we are to the unknown and the lengths to which some must go to keep the balance. Yet, there is also beauty in the knowledge that there are always those willing to stand in the breach, to protect the world from the unseen forces that seek to disrupt the equilibrium. The national park remains a beacon of mystery and adventure, its secrets guarded by those who have walked its paths and learned its truths. And for those who listen closely, the whisper of the trees and the murmur of the streams tell the tale of Maya, Ethan, and Alex, a story of courage, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bonds of friend. As Ethan and Maya stood at the threshold of the cave, the air around them charged with an ancient energy. They felt the weight of unseen eyes upon them, venturing into the darkness. Their flashlights pierced the gloom, revealing the continuation of the ominous drawings that seemed to narrate a story of worship, fear, and a pact made with a force that demanded a toll for passage through these lands. Deep within the cave, they stumbled upon an underground chamber, its center dominated by an altar of stone, stained with the passage of time and darker substances. Surrounding the altar, a circle of stones pulsed with a faint, otherworldly light. It was here, in the heart of the earth, that the essence of the park's mystery began to unfurl itself to Ethan and Maya. The air thickened as if the chamber itself breathed, a slow, deliberate rhythm that resonated with their own heartbeats. Shadows danced along the walls, cast by no light they could see, moving with purpose, enacting scenes of rituals performed by figures draped in the garb of another age. These shadows seemed to acknowledge Ethan and Maya's presence, beckoning them closer to the altar. Compelled by a force they could not resist, they approached, their minds filled with whispers that were not their own, promises of knowledge and power, and the key to finding their lost friend. The shadows grew more frenetic, their movements urgent, as if the culmination of centuries awaited this moment. Yet, as they stood before the altar, the whispers coalescing into a singular, comprehensible voice, the ground trembled beneath them. A deep, resonant sound filled the chamber, emanating from the very walls. The earth itself, speaking in a tongue lost to time, but felt in the marrow of their bones. The voice offered them a choice, a decision that would determine more than their fate. It spoke of a gatekeeper to realms beyond their understanding, a keeper of balances that had been disrupted by their presence. The choice was simple yet impossible. One must stay, bound to the land, a guardian of the pact between worlds, while the other could return with the knowledge to find their friend and prevent further disruption. But this knowledge came with a cost, a sacrifice that would bind them to the park's ancient entity, a debt to be paid in time. As the voice faded, leaving an oppressive silence in its wake, Ethan and Maya faced each other. The weight of their decision, a tangible force between them. The chamber seemed to await their choice, the air thick with anticipation. The story pauses here, on the brink of their decision. The fate of Ethan, Maya, and Alex hanging in the balance. What lies beyond this moment is a path unwritten, shrouded in the mists of possibilities, a continuation of their story that dwells in the realm of the unknown. The national park holds its secrets close, a guardian of tales that blur the lines between reality and the supernatural, inviting those who dare to explore its depths and uncover the truths hidden within. Under the oppressive silence of the underground chamber, with the weight of their choice hanging between them, Ethan and Maya found themselves at an impasse. The decision was not just about who would stay and who would leave, but about the very essence of their friendship and the sacrifices they were willing to make for each other and for Alex. The earth beneath them seemed to pulse, a reminder of the ancient pact that demanded a resolution. It was then that a series of visions assaulted their minds. Visions of the park's history, of countless others who had stood where they now stood, and of the dark outcomes that befell those who chose poorly. Among these visions, a thread of hope glimmered away to outwit the ancient entity that demanded such a heavy toll. It was a risky path, one that required cunning, bravery, and an unbreakable bond between them. They could attempt to bind themselves to the entity together, sharing the duty of guardianship, a solution unheard of in the tales whispered by the shadows. As they contemplated this path, the chamber seemed to react, the pulsing light growing stronger, the air charged with a sense of anticipation, or perhaps challenge. The entity had never encountered such a proposition, and its curiosity was piqued. It was an audacious plan, fraught with peril, but it was their only chance to save Alex and themselves without succumbing to the bleak destinies that awaited them otherwise. They decided to offer themselves as joint guardians, to share the burden and the power, hoping their unique proposal would be accepted. The voice, when it returned, was tinged with amusement and intrigue. It agreed to consider their proposal, but set forth a trial attest of their resolve, their unity, and their worthiness of the roles they sought to assume. The trial was to venture deeper into the heart of the park, to a place where the veil between worlds was thin, and retrieve an artifact of ancient power. This artifact, hidden from the eyes of the unworthy, was the key to solidifying their pact with the entity and ensuring their friend's safe return. As the details of their quest settled in their minds, the chamber's atmosphere shifted, offering a path forward, a tunnel that had not been there before. With no choice but to proceed, Ethan and Maya stepped into the unknown, the shadows of the chamber swallowing them whole. The story leaves them as they embark on this perilous journey, their futures uncertain, and the fate of their friend Alex still in the balance. The national park, with its ancient secrets and supernatural guardians, watches over them, its silent whisper, a constant reminder that their story is far from over, a tale that weaves itself into the fabric of the true national park horror stories. waiting for those brave enough to explore its depths and uncover its truths. In the charged silence of the underground chamber, with the decision hanging heavily in the air, Ethan and Maya grappled with the gravity of their choice. Their friendship, once a bond of shared adventures and laughter, now faced the ultimate test. The chamber's oppressive atmosphere seemed to grow denser, as if urging them to hasten their decision. Ethan, with a resolve that belied his inner turmoil, stepped forward, his voice barely more than a whisper, yet carrying the weight of his resolve. "I'll stay," he said, his gaze locked with Maya's, conveying a silent apology and a plea for understanding. Maya, her heart heavy with grief and fear, nodded silently, her acceptance laced with an unspoken promise to find Alex and uncover the truth of the park's mysteries. As Ethan approached the altar, the chamber reacted. The stone circle's glow intensified, casting ethereal light upon his face, and the shadows danced with frenetic energy, their whispers crescendoing into a harmonious chant that seemed to acknowledge his sacrifice. Maya watched, frozen in place, as the ground beneath Ethan shimmered, opening a fissure that emitted a soft, otherworldly light. With a final look at Maya, a mixture of farewell and an admonition to continue their quest, Ethan stepped into the light. The moment Ethan's foot touched the light, the chamber shook violently, as if the very earth protested his decision. Maya was thrown back, her vision blurring as dust and ancient echoes filled the air. When the tumult subsided, she found herself alone. The fissure closed, and the chamber's atmosphere returned to its ominous calm. Ethan was gone, his presence lingering like a whisper in the wind. Maya, now burdened with the weight of their mission and the loss of Ethan, gathered her resolve. She retraced her steps through the cave, emerging into the night, where the park lay bathed in an otherworldly glow under the full moon. The air felt different, charged with an energy that seemed to guide her steps. As she ventured back into the heart of the park, guided by an unseen force, the line between the natural and the supernatural blurred further. The forest itself appeared to guide her, opening paths where there were none and whispering secrets through the leaves. She felt the presence of Ethan, not as a ghost, but as a guardian spirit, bound to the land, but also to her, guiding her towards Alex and the deeper truth of the park. The story leaves Maya at the edge of a revelation. The park's ancient entity, now an ally in her quest. Yet, the true nature of the park, Ethan's fate, and the location of Alex remain shrouded in mystery. The answers lying just beyond reach in the dense fog that blankets the deeper, unexplored regions of the park. As Maya steps forward, the narrative pauses, inviting the imagination to explore the endless possibilities that lie within the true national park horror stories. A tapestry of fear, friendship, and the unknown that beckons for its secrets to be unraveled.